By the end of this video, your soul might fully activate. So just like proceed with caution. Do this video at your own risk. I'm kidding, but in today's video, we will be talking about how to activate your soul and to bring your soul into its fullest expression. And so getting into this, how to activate your soul, where this comes from is a book called Conversations with God. And what Conversations with God talks about is that our main objective here in this life is for our soul to come into its fullest expression. That is the point of life, is for our soul to come into its fullest expression. And so what this means is that, one, you are a soul in a human body. You are not a human that has a soul. You are a soul in a human body. Your soul, it wants to express itself on the highest degree it can. And now, as a soul, there is no limitation to the expression. So your soul has no limitation. There is not a spot that you can get to where it's like, okay, your soul has fully expressed. Now it can't express any further. No, there is no limitation to your soul's expression. So that means that you are here to create whatever you desire to. And to fully activate your soul means that you are continuously in fullest expression. You go to the fullest expression and then you go to the next thing, meaning that you create whatever it is that you desire to here in this lifetime. And so what I'm going to help you with now is, how do you actually activate your soul? What is the process of activating your soul? And so the first step in activating our soul is talking about where the soul lies. The soul, like I told you, you are a soul in a human body. So your soul is lying within the body. And let's talk about the body now. So this is the body. This is your human body. And the first thing for us to understand is that the human body, our body, is going to be the number one thing that helps us activate our soul in its fullest form. And so within your body, what you have is a nervous system. And this nervous system runs throughout your entire body. So you have thousands of nerves that run throughout your entire body. And what your nervous system is consistently doing is it is reacting to your environment. And the way that it reacts to your environment is based on the way that it has been established and grown up. And so this nervous system is constantly reacting to the environment. And as we go throughout our life experience, where your nervous system is really being formed the most is through the ages of 0 to 7 years old. This is where your nervous system is forming the most. And the nervous system goes hand in hand with something called your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what dictates 95% of your reality. So the reality that you see as an adult is 95% based upon what you really experience from the ages of 0 to 7. That is when your subconscious mind is forming the most. And it now dictates 95% of your reality as an adult. And the thing with the nervous system is that as you're going through the ages of 0 to 7, during these ages is when we really experience the most trauma. Because, let's just put that here. Because we come into this world, and as a child, we're very open. We don't have limiting beliefs. We don't have stories that are running our life. And we just come very open. It's like our soul is expressing itself. It's just here. But what happens is from the ages of 0 to 7 is where we're really starting to experience our environment. We're starting to experience our teachers. We're starting to experience school and friends for the first time. And so in a society where we aren't really allowed to be fully expressive, what happens is that we develop traumas, we develop limiting beliefs. And what happens is that these traumas, they end up getting stored within our body, specifically in our nervous system. And so these traumas get stored all throughout you. And so this trauma could have been when you were 3 years old, you were really excited about something that you did at preschool, and then you went home and you were excited to tell your dad about what you created at preschool. And your dad had had a long day, and your dad was a bit emotionally unavailable. And so you tell your dad, Dad, look at this project that I did. And he's like, yeah, that's great, and doesn't have the space for it. And so what that made you believe in that moment is that you're not worthy, you're not enough. And so that experience got stored within you, and that may have gotten stored as grief. And then you had something that happened to you when you were 6 years old that caused you to develop shame. You had something that happened to you when you were 5 that caused you to develop sadness. And what happens is that these emotions get stored within your body when they aren't felt, because we didn't grow up in a society that allowed us to feel fully. So our emotions got stored within us. And now what happens is that as these emotions get stored more and more, what it does to the overall frequency of you is that it causes your frequency to be low. And now, on the vibrational scale of consciousness, when we look at the vibrational scale of consciousness, the emotions of shame, guilt, grief, these are going to be emotions that carry a lower vibration. And so they are lowering you on the vibrational scale of consciousness. And what this does is that your soul comes from God. God carries a high vibration, a very high vibration. And so when you have these emotions stored within your nervous system and you're carrying a lower frequency, what this does is that it causes a disconnection between you and God and your soul. Your soul and God carry a very similar vibrational frequency. And so when you are resonating at a lower frequency, it's going to be hard for you to embody and live in your soul's expression. And so, if we want to live in our soul's fullest expression, then we have to go from living in this lower vibrational frequency to living in a higher vibrational frequency. And so, how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is we need to address these stored emotions that are living inside of us. And the reason that these emotions got stored within you was because they were not being felt as a child, as a teenager. So they continuously got stored more and more within you. So we want to get these stored emotions out of us, correct? And so how do we do that? Well, if these got stored because they weren't felt, then how do you think that we release them? Well, we probably do that by feeling, correct? If we are able to feel the emotions that are being stored within us, then this is how we're going to start to be able to release them. And so let's talk now about how to be able to start to release these. Okay, so there are a few key components in order to be able to start to feel these emotions that are within you. In order to start to feel, something that we didn't get as a child is that we often were not given safety. Safety is a key component of being able to feel, because when we do not feel safe, our body and our nervous system is not going to be safe and feel safe to be able to feel and express its emotions. So safety is a really big thing. How do you create safety? Well, safety is created, one, with stillness. It's created with quiet. And it's also created with a safe space. And so these three things, stillness, quietness, and safe space, is what is going to provide safety. And so stillness can be created within yourself, quietness can be created within yourself, and a safe space can also be created within yourself and around yourself as well. Number two, and something that I have seen continuously that helps us access our emotions, is breath. And the reason for this is our breath takes us from our mind into our body. And so if we are living up in this space and we're trying to feel our emotions from this space, it's not going to work. Why? Because the emotions are not up here. Where they are is here, inside the body. And so what our breath allows us to do is it allows us to get out of our mind and go into our body. We will often live up in the mind because we have a lot of emotions stored in the body, but we haven't created the safety to feel them. So the place that we go to and we live from is our mind, because actually living in the body is pretty scary. So our breath is something that's going to allow us to go from our mind into our body. And now number three is awareness. Once we're in our body, we need to become aware of feeling. And by feeling, what I mean is that we have to know that, okay, there's something here that is coming up to be felt. So if we create safety, we connect with our breath, then we start to become aware that, okay, there are emotions within my body that are here to start to be felt. And then that leads us to number four, which is just actually feeling the emotion. Because when we become aware that, okay, there's something here to be felt, then it's up to us to actually feel the emotion. And so when you start to go into this, it may start to be a little bit uncomfortable because you've never been in a space before there where feeling emotions was actually safe. And so a lot of us, the deep grief that we have, the shame that we carry, the guilt that we carry, we don't know how to access that. It just has become a part of us. So actually feeling it is pretty scary. And we have an ego that wants to keep us comfortable. The ego keeps us in the place of guilt, shame, fear. This is where the ego lives. It lives lower on the vibrational scale of consciousness. And so when we create safety, we connect with the breath, we create awareness, and then we actually start to feel the emotion. Like I said, at first it might be uncomfortable, but the more you get into this, the more it will start to become a little bit more comfortable. You will start to recognize that, okay, I can actually start to feel these things. And so what this is going to help you do over time is that as you go through these steps, is that when you actually start to feel the emotion, what that's going to lead to is, let's call this number 5, is the release. When we feel the emotion, let's say that we are in a safe environment, we're connecting with our breath, we become aware of what we're experiencing in our body, we feel the emotion, it's going to help us release it. So what that looks like is that grief that you were carrying from 3 years old when your dad didn't give you the space that you needed, the love that you needed, well, you're going to start to release that. And so that's not going to be stored within your body any further. Then you go into the next emotion, you feel that. And over time, what is going to start to happen and what you're going to start to do is that these emotions that have been stored within your body are going to start to be released. And then what's going to happen is that you can now see all this space that you have within your body. And let's break this down a little bit further, because you're probably asking, like, okay, that's great. I create safety, I connect with my breath, my awareness, I feel the emotion, I release, but like, how do I actually do that? You're probably asking that, right? Okay, so one of the practices that I love to bring in is doing a check-in with the body and then getting into breath. So what I call this is a somatic check-in. Soma means of the body, the nervous system. So it's directly connected to your nervous system, and you're going to start to become aware of the nervous system. So what the somatic check-in is you're connecting to your body for 15 minutes. And if you want an actual representation of how to do the somatic check-in, you can click the first link down in the description and go and check out the free community where there will be a video showing you how to do this. And so what the somatic check-in is we're connecting to our body for 15 minutes in a way of you're connecting with your breath and you're becoming aware of the feelings that you have within yourself, which is going to help you create safety, and then you actually feel the emotion. So when we go into and do this, we're standing upright, we're in a nice posture, and we start to connect with the breath. And as you start to connect with the breath, you start to feel into the body and feeling into the sensations that you're experiencing. And so as you feel into the sensations, what you start to then do is you start to see, okay, how does this sensation, this feeling in my body want to move and express? So you may have a pain in your gut, for instance. And that pain in your gut, it could be the grief that you haven't felt. And so when you feel into it, you feel into, okay, how does this emotion or this feeling, how does it want to move? And so it may be like a, uh, letting out like a, that's kind of the sound of like the gut. It may be I need to shake. I need to shake it out. It may be I need to like yell something out. It may just be I need to breathe it out like a and that may be a little bit uncomfortable for you, but this is how we start to release. So once you actually start to feel the emotion, what happens is you start to release it. And as you connect with the body, you connect with your breath, you create safety and stillness. What is going to happen is more and more you're going to have further awareness of what's actually in your body. And then you're going to be actually able to start to feel the emotions and then start to release them. So the somatic check-in is a great way to start to begin this. And like I said, first link down in the description, it will give you the exact practice. And so as you start to do this more and more, and there are deeper ways that we can go into this too, but this is a great place to start. What's going to start to happen is that you create space within your body. And now you have space to fill that with something. And oftentimes, as you start to feel more and more of your emotions, what happens, because you are an emotional being, a human emotional being, is what starts to happen is that you develop a deeper and deeper love for yourself. This naturally happens when we start to develop a deeper understanding of ourselves, when we start to feel our emotions, is we start to give more and more love to ourselves. And as we fill ourselves with more and more love, we have room for the other higher vibrational emotions and feelings. And so now we have space for joy. We have space for bliss. We have space for peace. And what happens is we start to fill our body with higher vibrational emotions. We start to become more and more aligned. This means that like our energetic centers within us start to become more and more aligned. So the emotion that maybe was stored in the throat space has now been opened, and you have space to fill that with a higher vibrational emotion. Maybe I'm expressing my truth. That allows my throat space to heal. My heart starts to heal. My gut starts to heal. My root starts to heal. And I fill this with a higher vibrational energy, higher vibrational emotions. And so what starts to happen to you is that your frequency starts to rise. And remember, God, higher frequency, soul, higher frequency. And so what happens within you is that now you are embodying more love, joy, and peace. And so now you are resonating at this higher vibrational frequency. And like I said, what's at the higher vibrational frequency? Well, God is here, and your soul and its highest expression is here. And so now you are resonating at the frequency of your soul's highest expression. And as you're resonating at this frequency, now you have the ability to live at your soul's highest expression. And so before, when you were resonating at this lower frequency, you couldn't connect to your soul's highest expression. But now, because you've created the space within you to embody more love, joy, peace, you're resonating at your soul's highest expression. That's not to say that you will never feel these things again. You'll just have the awareness around it to be able to recognize it, to be able to feel it, to be able to release it, release, and you'll now have the space within you to bring even more love into yourself. And so as this happens, your frequency is going to continue to rise more and more and more. And you are going to continue to embody this. Because your soul in its highest expression is also in deep alignment with God and living God's path. And this is how we do it. We create the space within our nervous system to embody our soul in its highest expression. And actually living in your highest expression, what naturally happens as you start to do this is you start to remember your mission here. You start to remember your path and why you were put here in the first place. And then you get to live in that because you now have the space within you to do it. And it will just naturally come. You're going to start to give love to others. You're going to start to recognize your gifts and you're going to want to share those with the world. And this is how we live in our soul's highest expression. This is what Conversations with God talks about, is that we get to embody our soul in its highest expression and live in that. And so we're literally doing what we came here to do. And this is the path that you do it. And you can also see that embodying your soul's highest expression comes from the body. The body is so, so, so important. It happens within you. And then your soul can fully express itself. So this is the path. This is how we do it. How are you feeling? Feeling it within yourself? Feeling the truth within yourself, maybe? Yeah. This is how we do it. This is so critical. This is so important. This is what we came here to do. And so the next steps for you is you're going to want to go and check out that somatic check-in. It's in my free community. Go and check that out because this will start to get you into your body, start to create the safety, connect with the breath, the awareness, the starting to feel the emotions and starting to release them. And you do this more and more, and you will start to embody more and more of your soul in its highest expression. So like I said, go check this out, take the next steps. And if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to subscribe, like it, and even share it with a friend. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.